George, wait!
What's going on?
Powerful seismic events are shaking the world.
Get down! Ah!
Secrets of an ancient manuscript have been unlocked. An evil conspiracy has been reborn. And a thrilling adventure is about to begin.
Well, that's clearly the way out.
And these are clearly not ordinary floor tiles.
But it's fundamentally an adventure game, but it's an adventure game in the widest possible sense. You're thrown into a conspiracy, you find people have been murdered, people you're meant to meet.
It was a Sunday morning. I was 3 months behind on the rent. And my editor had given me another bum assignment. And then, everything changed.
And as the game develops, you find that you're drawn into an extraordinary story.
Where did she disappear to?
As always, a good story needs well-crafted characters, and this was a key challenge for the developers.
The principal characters are George and Nico. George is an American, easygoing guy. He's sort of caught up in the whole conspiracy and drawn along. He's almost like an unwilling hero.
He gets into adventures and scrapes and somehow comedically gets himself through them.
On the other side, we have Nico, who's French. She's quite proud. She's a photojournalist. She's a real investigator.
They have quite a rocky relationship, but a very interesting one because it's so sparky that the audience are never left with any kind of boring moments between the two interacting together.
Thanks, Nico. That was a close call.
We've got to look out for each other.
According to the game's creator, Revolution's Charles Cecil, this is a game designed to unfold like a classic suspense thriller. Normally the preserve of books and films, the storytelling takes center stage.
One of the exciting things about writing adventures is that it's just about the only genre where you can write a really, really powerful story. And the story and the gameplay are actually interwoven. So as you play the game, so the story automatically unfolds.
It's the closest I believe we can at this stage get to a film without just basically playing a 1.5-hour cutscene.
It starts with our hero, George, flying over the jungles of the Congo.
Somehow we'd landed in the jungle. And I was alive.
And suddenly this amazing electrical storm comes from absolutely nowhere and brings the plane down. And George only just survives. We then cut back to Nico, and Nico's in Paris. And she's been invited to talk to some computer hacker who's talking about the end of the world. And so both characters are brought into this amazing conspiracy, independently of each other.
Many works of fiction or fantasy suspend disbelief by incorporating links to real history or science. Video games too, it seems, can seamlessly draw on reality and mythology to enhance a fictitious adventure. And this was always a huge part of the Broken Sword concept.
We use historical backgrounds because the facts are so extraordinary. The historical elements relating to the Knights Templar, who were an amazing group of people, to a very mysterious manuscript called the Voynich manuscript, which we draw into the story as well.
The Voynich manuscript is the world's most mysterious manuscript. It's probably 500 years old, and no one can read a word of it. It's probably written in code. It was found in 1912 in a trunk near Rome in Italy by Mr. Voynich, hence the name. The game begins with the cracking of the Voynich manuscript. You might think that would be a fairly easy thing to do with modern computers, but there's a team of maybe 200 people I'm a member of internationally who are trying to crack the code, much like Vernon does in the game. He succeeds, but gets killed for it.
Oh my God! I knew I had to search the body. It was still warm.
To fans of the Broken Sword series, it must have felt like an eternity before the sleeping dragon was brought to life. But for the game's designers, it was a matter of waiting for new hardware that would justify moving the game from the old 2D environment to 3D. Now the technology is available, Revolution have been able to give the game a very filmic look. To make sure the third Broken Sword game really did feel like a film, Revolution brought in top cinematic consultant Bob Keane. Bob's a director, designer and model maker based in England's Pinewood Studios, where he's created some of the most memorable images in cinema.
Came out of school, went into an apprenticeship at a model making company, then decided that I really wanted to do more creature stuff. So I got into creatures with Empire Strikes Back, all those wonderful movies that were being made around that time. What I'm probably most famous for is the Hellraiser movies.
Bob's film expertise was used by Revolution to make sure the game conveyed emotions and atmospheres appropriate for each scene.
So they needed someone to come on board who could offer them direction with all kinds of levels, from sound design to lighting to camera position and camera emotions, particularly, where a camera would maybe be following a character and the character would be allowed to creep away, and then I'd go, well, hold on a second, do you want the camera, do you want them to go? Do you want them to be saying goodbye? And then the game designers go, well, no. And I said, well, at the moment, the emotion here is that that character is leaving.
Now, one thing that Bob Keane suggested was that certain cameras, we had to be very careful that we weren't giving the impression that the character was leaving the scene much earlier than they should. So there was a point here where we had a very large camera volume, which meant that the player character was walking a long way into the screen before that we changed the camera. And Bob said this clearly gave the message that the scene was being left in normal cinematic parlance. So we added a new camera volume here to stop that effect.
I've been waiting a long time for the chance to do this.
Convey it in a more dynamic way through the cinematography. We can move the camera around so that we can increase the drama.
No matter how convincing the game looks and how good the story is, what's going to keep gamers coming back for more is addictive and exciting gameplay.
The core gameplay is the investigation. It's getting to the bottom of the conspiracy, talking to the characters.
Hi, my name's Stobart, George Stobart.
Finding out clues, working out what to do with them. But the second major element comes from the exploration itself, the climbing across the balconies, shimmying in the jungle across cliff faces as well. And this is something that we could do in 3D that we could never do in 2D. And then finally we add an element of action. And the action is very exciting.
No, not yet. Harry, stay there. Why? Whoa!
It's important to me that the gameplay in Broken Sword, it still functions as a game. People can talk a lot about how games and films are coming together, and they are. But we're not at a stage yet where I believe that we could shoot, for instance, the gameplay purely like a film. So what we tried to do is to get a nice equal mix, so that I, as the director, can say, well, this is the best way to shoot it, but I'm still very keen on what the game designer who's putting this level together has to say about whether it's conducive to gameplay or not.
So, compelling gameplay, breathtaking graphics, a movie-quality script,
Hey, lady, saddle costs extra.
and a roller coaster of a narrative. Stand by for a landmark in interactive storytelling.
Here goes.
It's truly an interactive movie. It's got all the qualities of a movie, and it is interactive. And this is the future of it. And I think they've got a great game on their hands. And I can't wait to play it.
We've tried to innovate in every single area. We've really turned our back on what went before. I very much hope and expect that this game will be received as a seminal title that really blows away everything that went before it and creates a new standard in adventures.
Hey, nice.